Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of episode 6 of Project Joy. I'm Kory. If you missed part 1 of this episode, I recommend going back and watching it really quick because this episode will make a lot more sense if you have the backstory behind it. But basically, to give you a quick reminder of what happened on part 1 of this episode, I talked about using organization as a form of self-care and fighting the feelings of being overwhelmed and feeling like you can't accomplish everything that you want to accomplish with breaking things down into more easily manageable tasks and being better about using a planner and time management to feel like I had my life under control and felt a bit more organized, and to make sure that I was making time to practice the self-care items that I wanted to practice. So today's episode is going to be short and sweet because I'm basically going to give you the 3 things that I've really thought through wanting to do in this next week and wanting to practice that go along with this theme. Also, in part 1 of this episode, I showed you guys my favorite paper planner and talked about why I loved it, but I also said that if you want to get a paper planner and do something like this, and maybe mine is not the style that you want, you should check out my friend Kayla's blog because she does amazing planner reviews and she has beautiful photography that show like the different planners. So if you guys want to get previews of planners before you pick one there, definitely check out her blog. I'll post the link in the description down below. And I'll also post the link to the last episode, so if you want to go back and watch that first before you watch this episode, you can. So I wrote these 3 things down because sometimes I feel like writing things down is a more concrete way of setting goals for myself so that I actually do them. And then also coming on and talking about it here helps kind of keep me accountable. So that's part of why I selfishly like to do these videos, is because then I feel like I have to do these things. So the first thing that I want to do is spend 5 minutes every morning looking at my calendar and planning my day. So I actually went through and added a daily reminder on my phone for 7:45 a.m., which is about the time that I get to work each morning, to remind myself to sit down and look at my calendar and just plan things out, and then maybe if there's something on my calendar that I've forgotten about, just be aware of it for the day, because that happens to me a lot where it'll get to be like 2 p.m. and I think that I'm really on schedule for the day, and then I remember at the last minute that I have a 3 p.m. meeting that I have to go to, and it throws my whole day off. So I'm hoping that being a little bit more proactive about actually using my calendar will solve that feeling of panic. Number 2 is to write in time for myself and stick to it. So last episode I talked about how it can be really easy to forget to do some self-love and self-care practices each and every day because it's easy to get caught up in autopilot and just go through our routines without even thinking about it. That happens to me a lot. So I'm thinking that actually writing a note to myself to do those things every day will be helpful to me and just make sure that I continue to practice those things and really build them into solid habits instead of just doing them for a week or 2 and then forgetting about them, because they have been making me feel a lot better. So I want to make sure that I'm prioritizing those things. So I'm going to try really hard to treat writing time in for myself the same way that I would treat writing time in with my friends, right? Because if I write down that I'm hanging out with one friend on a Friday night and then another friend asks me if I want to go out and do something, I'm going to tell that other friend no because I've already committed to hanging out with this other friend, right? So I'm going to try to give myself that same level of respect and saying that when I pick a block of time that is going to be for me, then I'm going to treat that just like I would if I had an appointment with someone else. And then the third thing is to use Sunday night as a time to get organized for the week ahead. I really want to build this habit because, like I said, I tend to feel really overwhelmed sometimes in the weeks, and I think that I've really loved this whole like self-care Sunday trend, so I really want to build this as part of my self-care and use Sunday nights as a time to really just sit down with my planner, go through the week, make a plan. I also think that there's a lot of things involved in self-care, like eating good food and making time for friends and just a lot of other things that I'll talk about in future episodes, but all of those things are kind of a lot easier to accomplish if you can plan them out ahead of time in some form. So that's one of my big goals for this week, is to really make myself sit down and plan my week on Sunday nights and just treat it as a self-care activity, because that's really what it is, right? It's setting myself up for success for the week and giving myself that time to kind of just relax and know that everything is written down. I'll get to everything that I need to that week because I have it planned out, and just take a breather. And again, I put reminders in my phone about doing that. So I have a reminder in my phone for every Sunday evening to now sit down and go through my calendar, and then I have a reminder every morning to sit down and look at my calendar and make sure that I'm aware of everything that's on it for the day. So those are the 3 things that I'm going to try this week. So I hope you guys will join in doing this with me. If you guys have organization tips and tricks, or if you have favorite planners or anything like that that you want to share with me, please feel free. And like always, I'll be doing some daily vlogging on these things on my Instagram stories. So if you want to follow along throughout the week, definitely follow me on Instagram, and I'll be back with a check-in next week. Thanks for tuning in, guys.